Michael Gove is now the latest to be testifying in front of the COVID inquiry, and what he's been saying is, a snapshot of the heart of the current Conservative Party, I think, and it really gets to the issues. He talks. He uses quite euphemistic language. Strong personalities, bullies, assertiveness, to get the best out of Brexit. You need assertive personalities to get through the logjam of Brexit. And he says that Brexit was executed well. Well, I would love to know. I asked the other day, can somebody tell me 3 things that Brexit has achieved? And I think a submarine deal with Australia and a trade deal with Indonesia is not really, it doesn't really cut it, does it? Because we don't see those things in our pockets at home. Oh, I've got a submarine in my pocket. Oh no, it's Matt Hancock. No, so what might have worked for bullying their way through Brexit, for commanding civil servants what to do, for not listening to any advice, that might have worked for Brexit. Didn't achieve very much as far as I can see, but it certainly didn't work for the pandemic, where the people who knew were ignored and where the austerity regime was proven to be instrumental in crisis. It was in part the problem. So having trimmed back all the PPE, where do you get it from? You get it from your friends rather than from people who can genuinely supply it, because that was the instinct. Loyalty rather than competence was rewarded, and personality clashes Gove talks about, and he also talks about functionality being impaired. He then goes on at some length to talk about the advantages of a perfect team, and how a perfect team for him is one that has a diversity of opinion. I entirely agree with him on that. But I also think a diversity of opinion can be beautifully aligned, another one of his phrases, to achieve results. And indeed, all the formality, the absurd formality of Parliament is there to embrace the diversity of opinion and to get the results. But bypassing the system that already existed and trying to set up a sort of a new system, a cabinet within a cabinet, a government within a government, a parliament within a parliament, managed by people like Dominic Cummings, produced something that was dysfunctional and chaotic. Cummings tries to identify where the dysfunctionality existed. It wasn't me, Gov. Well, he was the lord of misrule. And Gove used another expression today. He talked about being executive and tough. I didn't realise that the word executive was a synonym for tough, but that's how he uses it. Executive powers, tough powers, doing things which people don't like. I don't think that's what making an executive decision is about. Making an executive decision is about being decisive, not necessarily being obstructive and bullying your way through. But yes, that Brexit mentality, the mentality that got Brexit done, was the mentality that tried to get us through the pandemic and tried to help Zelensky. I think it was effective in helping Zelensky. I don't think it was effective in sorting out the pandemic. We went into lockdown too late. We then went into a second lockdown because we were too stupid first time round. Because, as we have heard when the scientists were testifying, Boris didn't listen. Boris didn't understand the science. Oddly, the person who seems to have understood the science was Nicola Sturgeon, and she was sidelined, rather like the Mayor of London was sidelined. I don't think the sidelining of Sadiq Khan seriously impacted the development of what went on in Brexit. But I think sidelining Nicola Sturgeon was foolish, and maybe actually in any future pandemic, yes, the key players need to be in one room. The Mayor of London, the various First Ministers and so on. They need to be in one room, and or at least talking to one another rather than playing political dominoes and waiting for this power game where somebody's going to stumble and fall. Let's celebrate. Have another party because somebody else has got it wrong. When somebody gets it wrong in a pandemic, that means the death of many. And that is the absurdity of Boris Johnson. And Boris Johnson's competence and his obsession with loyalty rather than competence is the education that he gave to Liz Truss, his ultimate disciple, and the ultimate manifestation of Johnsonalia. And I think we're still suffering from the economic and emotional impact of Liz Truss's very brief tenure.